Okay, folks, welcome back to the handheld bench. So what I'm doing now, I'm still kicking around with this classic Model Works depressed car from Erie. I think I have it fixed. What I decided to do, they have a video on their site that shows it pretty well how to do it, and there's probably some other videos out there by now. What I did was, you can see I took that's the malleable steel part out of the car. That's sitting back here, and I did twist it a little bit. Seems okay. This one screw is still in. It's stripped in the base of the plastic, but it doesn't seem to be a big deal. It does have 4 screw holes that hold it on, and this is what it looks like. This is the plastic part. I don't think this is the part that's bent slash warped slash twisted slash whatever. I think it's the metal part. So I fixed this, and it seems the car seems okay. The other possible issue that they told me about, I don't know if this is going to show up. If I get into the light, you can see those brake lines running through there on the very bottom, especially on this end of the car. The other end isn't quite as bad. They tend to, sometimes, they will hit. This is really hard to see. You see the little cutouts there in the metal base? I can't point because I'm holding the phone and holding this, but right about there in the center. I think they're the cut. That's where the brake rigging is supposed to run across. And sometimes it gets hit or it gets pinched in there on the upper part. So that obviously tends to want to keep this up above the base. So I fixed that a little bit, and you can fix it, obviously, if you take this off, you get it fixed. You can also see that when I took it off, what I did, very carefully, I started to notice, hey, wait a minute. This is the plastic, wood decking. It very, very carefully, it was just kind of tacked on there. I took it off. That's like that. I took a number 11 blade, came in real, one side was kind of up, real carefully took it off, sanded it up. So now I have, it'd be helpful if I showed you. I did sand it, but I'm probably not going to use this. But if I was, now I could weather this, separately, which would be a lot easier than on the car, because I'm not going to mess the car up with it. But what I'm probably going to do, this is a American Model Builders Flatcar deck. Now this one here is one that I had. It is let me grab it here. It's a 399 Bowser F30A. And the reason I used it is because I had it. I think what I really would want to use is down there. I was looking, that's a number 273 for their Tichy 40-foot flat. What I was looking for was something that didn't have, or at least not real obvious, the cutouts for the stake pockets. And the F30 only had real slight ones. A lot of the other flat car ones have them pretty pronounced. And you'd have to get in there and do a lot of, sanding. On this one, I did just take a little bit of it out. It's probably not quite right. I don't know if you can see the bolt pattern running down the car. It's a little bit off. I think it starts wide and then gets narrow, probably for the underframe that's on the F30. But I don't really care, because once you get this, you get it on the car, you get it down, you get it weathered, you get the, the other boxes and crates and impact recorder and everything on it. I think that's going to look okay. I'm just not worried about it. I just don't, in all honesty, I don't feel like ordering one flipping flat car wood deck and paying shipping and waiting for it and blah, 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 blah. If I was going to a train show and I saw it there, yeah, I'd pick it up and I'd use it. But I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to use this. It is a little bit long, which I wanted to do. I cut them both about the same. There's some extra pieces back here. There's like 4 planks extra. I think it's like basically a 1x4 or 1x6 piece of strip wood if I need it. Like I said, this is a little bit long, and what I'll probably do this is, to roll over. I think it would if I took the adhesive off. To roll it, because it does go down all the way to the deck. It also, again, I don't know if I can do this with one hand. Let me try going this way and lean it here. I think this comes over, and there's like a little knot. There's a notch here, and there's a notch up here where, I'll call it the center part, just for lack of a better term, continues down the deck. This does not continue down the deck all the way on the outside. It stops. I want to say it stops somewhere, back here, and then the center part goes down. So that's why I made it a little bit long, so I can kind of play with it a little bit. So we'll see how that all works out. But those two are sitting there. That's sitting there. And then, of course, once you get it on, I guess you could put a little bit of weight in there if you really, really wanted to. What's some of that liquid lead or something like that? I'm not sure, but we'll see. And then to go in here, what I'm going to do is, I got a little bit lazy. Let me just scroll or just drone over this way. There are the lugs, and they are, I'll be able to show up or not, but that's the lugs. So they're cut. They have a 76 hole drilled in them. They're going to fit. You can see how they're kind of sloped in the back, and they're square right now, but they're going to fit in. And I did try it. Sorry for the quick pan. Yeah, I think I stopped. I don't know where I stopped, but those are going to go in these slots. I'm going to put 3 of them. Bottom, top, and middle. I think there should be 4, but whatever. It's 030 styrene. It's just about going to fit in there real nice. And then the wood will come down in between, this one and this one. And the wood will come down. So I got to figure out how to do that. Maybe I'll bring it out, just slot it for the center one, and let it come down on both sides. I'm not sure yet, but I still got to play with that. So that's where we are right now. And again, I need to get these. Let me just drone back over. These have been primed with Mr. Hobby Gray Primer and then Vallejo Black to get them. And I'm going to let them sit up and dry for a little bit. Like I said, the 76 hole has been drilled. That's where the rod would come down. Probably come down, be bent, threaded, and then put a nut with a washer on the one end to hold it in, if they decided to use that. So I got 6 of those setting up, ready to go. And then we'll get those on the car. Like I said, I did have to sand these a little bit. These are about 31 millimeters in width. These were about 32. So I sanded it with that little sanding block. Not with the Tichy 40-foot flat. Let me get rid of that. But I use this little sanding block, which is nice. My friend Dale made this up for me. This is nice. This is a 120, and I have a 220 in the back. Worked out pretty good. So I sanded about a half a millimeter off each side. Yeah, I got it close. I just kind of went in with this and said, okay, where does this little puppy line up? And that's going to fit, like that. That way it fits about the same, edge to edge as the other one. Otherwise, it's a little bit too long. I don't think you'd really notice if you kept it a millimeter long, but whatever. I have the technology, so I did it. All right, so let me forge ahead. I'm trying to think what I want to do next. I want to let those lugs dry up, get them glued in, and then get the wood deck on each end. And then we'll go from there. And then, of course, get that done that I set up. Maybe weather the wood prior to or once it's on. Get the metal back inside it. Double check it again. Make sure everything's good. I still kind of don't like the way the couplers do droop a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to try to put something in the pocket, but I don't want to restrict the movement, obviously. Of course, you can't see what I'm pointing at. I don't want to restrict the movement, but I do want to try to do something. So anyway, so a little bit more work to do on that. So, all right, we'll be back a little bit. We'll see where we are and how we progress. Okay, just a little in progress here. There's the lugs, and they certainly are not perfect. They're glued in with, it's all plastic, so I did clean them up a little bit, scraped away some of the paint. They have the Mr. Hobby 1500 gray primer on them. That dried up. Then I came back and put Vallejo black. And then let that dry overnight. And then I scraped off a little bit. You can see there on the middle where it's kind of been scraped away. Now, these all have to be painted, of course. And then I got to get the wood decking on it. Now, they're going to come down. They're not perfect. Let me see if I can move this with my big-ass hand in the way. I put them in those slots right there, and they're a little sloppy, but they should be glued in okay. But the wood's going to go in between the left to the middle and the right to the middle. And then obviously the wood will come down on the top part there. So I think I can make it look okay. So that is an in progress of the lugs. At least there's something there. Now, of course, there's nothing on this end yet because I just got the one end done. But that's what they're going to look like. And I got, of course, the whole car's got to be weathered. These will be, weathered, painted up a little bit, and hopefully everything will blend together and it'll look like they belong there. All right, more to come as I forge ahead here. Okay, here's the other side. Glued in and kind of drying up. I think it looks okay. There's obviously something there. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. I know that. And should I have 4 of them? Probably. But you know what? Okay, whatever. They're cut by hand. They're kind of glued in. Now, I'm not going to touch this car now for, for a couple hours. Let things set up. What I'll probably do later on is come back, turn the car over, and put a little bit of super glue on the bottom side of each of these because they're not exactly in the slots. I don't know if this is going to show up or not. You can kind of see how they're off a little bit. But the wood planks that run in between it should keep them together. Like I said, at this angle, top to the middle, and then bottom to the middle should have wood. And obviously this end here will have wood, as will the other end. This end up here is going to have the wood that's going to come up, roll down the deck, not on the outside. That's why these on the outside are glued to the outside of the slot. But in between them, I got to be careful I don't touch anything now. In between them will be the wood that rolls down to the deck. And if I did it right, I haven't measured it, but there should be 22 feet between this lug and this lug. That'll be but again, who cares? No one's going to even, really, why am I doing this, right? No one's really going to notice it. But, all right, so the car is going to sit back there for a little bit, back by its friend, the load. Let it dry up, and then we'll come back and muck around some more. All right, so let's see what I did here. Put the AMB, American Model Builders, Penske F30 deck on. It's not perfect. It isn't what I should use, but I had it. Like I said, I didn't feel like waiting, so I cut it up. It's on. The A end and the B end, a weird little mark on it from some light isopropyl with black ink. Anyway, and then cut some little pieces to kind of roll down in between the lugs. I only used 3. There probably should be 4. Probably should be 2 in the middle, but whatever. I'm just lazy. Now, what I want to do is I want to come back and maybe hit a little bit of the wood, maybe with some enamel, just so it doesn't get all stretchy and movey and want to expand on me and whatnot. At least on the stuff that's rolling down the sides of the depressed end here. I'm not sure yet. The deck, I'm probably going to hit with some darker rust color, real light, and maybe put some angles on it here and there. I'm not sure yet. We'll just have to see about that. I did, again, I took the trucks off, kind of re-straightened the car, just for fun. I broke the, you can see, I broke the brake wheel at this end. So I got to fix that. I don't know if I want to pull that plastic out and re-drill a small hole and use like an 020 or 015, brass wire or something like that. I'm not sure. So that's what it looks like right now without the trucks and with the American Model Builder's wood deck on it. There's a light here. And with the lugs on it. Now the lugs, they're not perfect. I totally admit that. I mean, they're cut by hand. They're probably not quite right. It is only 21 feet in between the lugs, where according to the diagram, it's 22 feet. So, whatever. But who's going to know? You know what I mean? When you're back at layout level, so I can do this here and get some light on the subject. You're back like this. It's got a load on it. It's got some bushing boxes, accessory boxes, signage. You know, it's going to be hard to tell that is off by a foot. But it is. The center part there is off by a foot. So, which means the lugs are probably too big. It probably shouldn't have spent, well, like 6 inches less on each end. But again, they're hand cut, just by looking at them and trying to, make them up and get on there and yada, yada, yada. So that's it. So, all right, let's try to do a little bit more weathering on the wooden part here and see what we come up with. Alrighty, a little further along. So what I did was I went ahead and used I used AK Interactive and I think Ammo MIG enamel washes. And those are on the wood parts at the two ends. You see they're a little bit different color-wise than they used to be. So I got that on there. Make them back and try to touch things up a little bit. We'll see. A little bit more gray. And I got the wood coming down. Whoa, I think that's bright. And on this side, there's a line there, but whatever. And then I did use the Vallejo Dark Rust, I apologize, to put a slight acrylic wash on the deck of the car and on the lugs. So that's been done as well. So that's the car as it looks right now. Go a little bit higher here with a light. That's what it looks like. And I got to come back. I'm going to let it sit and dry now, because this enamel stuff is probably going to take a little bit longer. So let's sit for a while, let everything dry up, and I'll come back. And I do have to glue the one. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that one brake wheel that did break off. Yeah, that's lovely. All right, more to come. So let's let this sit and dry up, and we will be back. Alrighty, here's the car. I'm done. I'm not going to play with it anymore. It looks good enough to me. Like I said, it's all been weathered up. I did use the enamel washes on the wood part of the deck. A little bit of Ammo MIG pigments on it. I weathered the main depressed area. It has the lugs on it. I used the short couplers on the ends, the Katy couplers, replaced the ones that came with it. And it's ready to go. It seems to roll pretty nice. And of course, I want to run it on a layout and see, what it looks like. And the next big question is, oh yes, it did get fixed, by the way. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but the warp is pretty much, the warp and twist, pretty much out of it. So I think it looks okay. Now, what I want to decide to do, what I need to decide is what load to put on it. Here on front, I do have some, it's probably really hard to see, I get that, but there's some H pieces back here, H columns back here, and then some angles. This one here is a Plastistruct angle. These are evergreen. I think I have them over here. Let me just kind of real quickly show you what I did. All right, so here's what I used. This is the H column, 282/080. Yeah, okay, that's not bad. And then for one of the angles, or actually two of them I painted up, it's the 1.5 millimeter or the 060, number 291. And then for the Plastruct, I used, I think this is 3/64. Let me see if we can get in there and look at that. What it says? Yeah, 3/64. So it's small. And I wanted, kind of a small one in case I wanted to put it different places on the car. Because oftentimes on these cars, you will see, you know, around the car, you'll see old pieces, not this big, obviously, but, you know, old brackets kind of welded on. And I have seen H-columns on it as well as the angles. So again, I know this is hard to see, but I put it on white so you could try to see it, but I don't think it's going to work too darn well. Anyway, so those are my, let me get these off this white piece of crap. All right, so those are all painted up. I painted them with Vallejo Gory Red. Let them sit up for a wee bit and then sprayed them with the Vallejo German Field Gray. I think they look pretty darn good. So I'm happy with them, though, you know, the way they turned out. Now, like I said, the question is, what am I going to put on this car? I have two possibilities. I can use the old transformer, which is not a Westinghouse unit, but it is done and looks pretty darn good. Why is that so damn dark? So that is that load. And of course, it could be secured in. You need to put angles around it, bracing and everything like that. Nah, that looks okay. Again, you got to remember, it's only a 125-ton car, so it isn't that big. This is a actual Westinghouse shell form unit that is on a similar car, although I believe it is on a 4 and 4, you know, a 2-truck car at each end. And that looks kind of big, but I'm not sure yet. Now, it's not painted right, and this is kind of a broken model. You see the bottom lifting lugs are broken. That's how they lift the entire unit. They're broken off. So I don't know. So it's either use, I have another one like this. Actually, I have 2 more. Or use the car like that with this, you know, put some cool dunnage on it and run it out to the sides of the car. It may look okay. So I don't know. But again, moral of the story is that is the car. It's done. It's finished up. I got the lugs on it. Trucks are roller bearing, which I don't really like, but that's the way they are. You can fix those in the next run, or I can swap them out later on. You know, I don't think many people are really going to notice, in all honesty. You know, when you're back at layout level, and you're, oops. You know, when you're back like this, and you're running around, you got a load, and you're going here, you're going there. You're shucking and you're jiving. You're not going to care, you know, really, what the car looks like, or what the wheels are on the car, that kind of good stuff. So, all right. So that is that. And we will come back later when we get the thing loaded up. Again, I'm not sure how I'm going to load it. We shall see, and we'll go from here. But the car itself is done. So